Hey folks, Tim Newman with Soft Light Studios, bringing you yet again another moving daily assignment. Today's date, August 28th, 2019. Our assignment today is titled ICM Panning, or Intentional Camera Movement with Panning. It's a great way to make a scene really shine and create abstract visions all at the same time. In this assignment, constrain your intentional camera movement to panning along with the subject as it moves. You know, these panning images can really pull you along. All right, let's take a look at some sample images here. Believe it or not, this is a panning image. There's no subject in here that we are panning along with. We're really thinking of the sky as a subject and turning this into an abstract frame. And it doesn't 100% meet the requirements of the assignment, but it gives you an idea of what that movement does in your scene. In our next sample image, now we've got some panning. We are panning along or following along with this bike rider, and we're doing it at such a shutter speed that we're allowing other parts of the image to move or blur as the background. In this case, the midfield focus is blurring both the foreground and the background. It's a pretty cool effect. And what you're going to need to do here is find a shutter speed that allows you to freeze most of the motion of your subject, i.e. the rider on this bike and the bike frame itself. Ideally, a little bit of movement down here in the wheels in the subject, because that conveys movement, plus that nice blurring movement that's in the frame in general, in the usually foreground, but sometimes, let's flip that around, usually background, but sometimes foreground elements. Let's take a look at our elements of design here that matter to us. Obviously, in panning, we're looking for lines, and we're not just looking for lines that exist in the scene. We're looking to create those lines ourselves. Shapes are definitely an important aspect of panning images. That's how you identify the subject that you're panning along with. And I think quality of light is really important here, especially some contrast between the subject in the background and some contrast in the background elements in general so that they really pop off the screen. Let's take a look at some more sample images here. New York City. What can I say? My home away from home. And New York City taxi drivers. Now, New York City taxi drivers are never a problem to get panning shots because they're going a hell of a lot faster than anything else around them, including other cars. All right, in this image, got another panning image here. And this is obviously a recumbent bike that's going along here. And we've got exactly the elements that we've talked about in a couple of the other images that we want. Sharp subject, some movement being conveyed in those wheels, and really nice blur in the background indicating motion of this subject in this frame. In our last panning image, this was shot up at Mid-Ohio Racecourse from inside of the grandstand curve. Perfect place to do that panning because that curve keeps you equidistant from the subject all the way through the panning arc, which is an important thing to think about when you're trying to shoot these things. All right, folks, let's take a look at our rules of composition here. As we said, lines are really important as far as elements of design, and that should give us leading lines as we are tracking through these scenes. Perspective is really important. Get at a level that centers up the subject in the frame and allows you to place it where you want it. And last but not least, balance. A lot of times it's subject balance, the subject versus the background that you're panning against, but don't forget tonal balance as well. They can really solidify these images. So these are your guidelines for outputting images if you wish to have them considered for our semi-monthly image critique. And here is a naming example and naming standard along with that. Below that, you'll find our upload URL that you can click on to upload images. If none of this makes sense to you, take a look at our Update 01 video, for which there is a link next to the upload URL down in the description. Off to the right, you'll find that really bright red subscribe button beckoning to you. Please click me, please click me, okay? So feel free to do that. And then get out there and follow some stuff around with your lens today. And while you're out there, remember, learning equals skills, practice equals mastery. We'll see you out there.